What's up there, Workforce? Chris here with Work To Game, and it is time for another Gaming Weekly. This is where there's too many little stories to cover on individual posts, so we're going to roll them all together in one big post. Now, this week is brought to you by our Patreons. Thank you guys so much. You guys are fantastic, and you absolutely make Brian and I's world go round. Have a great day. Let's go ahead and dive in. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is IGN's coverage of the 28 changes coming to No Man's Sky. This is going to be the first kind of big push to the next update, and I know they've updated before, but this is the update that, in my opinion, makes the game complete from what people expected originally. I don't know if that's what was promised originally, but what's expected. This is going to be full multiplayer, actual multiplayer. This is going to be, much more base building and all sorts of HUD tweaks and things like that. So I encourage you to click on this. The links will be in the description below for all the things that we are talking about today. And I was just really excited for anybody who bought No Man's Sky and didn't feel that it was worth it. Pick it up. Hopefully it feels like a brand new game, and that helps you kind of feel like, okay, this is much closer to the game that I bought and the game that I intended for. Hopefully it feels like a brand new title out of nowhere. And you feel like you just got something for free since you already kind of dismissed that as a title purchased. Now, the next thing we got is 343's response to whether or not Halo Infinite will get a Battle Royale type. Today, they had a social stream. This was one day ago, so whenever, and they were asked whether or not there would be a Battle Royale game type, and they said the only form of BR that 343 is currently interested in is a battle rifle. And so I think that this is interesting, that a game that is not yet out would be dismissive of a game type that is so wildly successful and is generating a lot of hype around the new Call of Duty, is of course dominating in Fortnite, is PUBG's had its own success there. You start to see this type of game type trickling into things like World of Warcraft, and all of these games kind of, there's been things like this in Minecraft, and so to utterly dismiss a game type, I think, is a bold move, and I look forward to seeing what they do with it. It obviously means that they still feel very confident. The Warzone type thing in Halo 5 doesn't feel that far off, so to say that they don't want anything to do with Battle Royale, I mean, it's not a last man standing, it is kind of one team versus the other, but it wouldn't take that much of a tweak for that to move to that kind of last man standing style of play. So we'll just have to see. Thought that was interesting. Definitely keeping an eye on that game, and I'm bummed that I don't have a game to look forward to, a release date that I knew was coming out like this fall, and I could get my hands on another Halo game, because we've been playing a lot more Halo 5 lately, just kind of getting back into it. We played it a lot when it first launched, and I really could use another Halo game. Now, of course, we have another game conference coming up, because as games becomes this big, crazy billion-dollar industry, we have lots and lots of conferences getting lots and lots of press, and Gamescom is the next big one that everybody's looking at, and Xbox is saying that they're going to have new bundles with new accessories coming to Gamescom next month. Now, this is a big deal because they're the first ones to kind of announce it this clear cut, in my opinion, but there has been hints that there will be some PlayStation bundles. There's already talk of a PlayStation bundle for Spider-Man. So it's just interesting to know that if you missed Prime Day, where there was a chance at getting discounted things, especially when you talk about hardware, it never ends. It's a lot like buying an appliance for your kitchen. What I would recommend is just make sure you check the prices, and if you can be patient, wait for some form of a deal, because these seem to be released regularly. You should at least be getting a free piece of hardware or a free title if you're not buying the console on launch. So if you're not getting that kind of day one, month one release, there are going to continue to be, this is going to be that diminishing cost item, just like TVs, just like everything else. Consoles have become a commodity, and they will get cheaper and cheaper to manufacture, and those savings will get passed along to us to increase the amount of market that each console can get into, especially for the consoles that aren't on top. So PlayStation right now has the most units out there, which means that Switch and Xbox have to play a little bit of catch up. Switch is selling as fast as they can get them off the shelves, but Xbox has a little bit more to gain. So if you're looking for a savings on an Xbox, I would think they have the most to lose by not putting out fantastic deals, especially going into this holiday season. And last up, on the note of multiplayer, we do have Stardew Valley has a big multiplayer. Their release date is in theory August 1st, which is right around the corner. Stardew Valley, for anybody that didn't watch that be streamed when that caught, the hype train, is like, it was a little single player RPG simulation, a lot like not a Minecraft, but maybe a Terraria, something like that. and there's going to be a multiplayer update. So the big multiplayer update should have extra features to set different difficulties and chat box and just different things to make that multiplayer experience ideal. And I just think it's an interesting statement on the fact that every major game, if it doesn't have multiplayer in some level on launch, must add a multiplayer. If it has multiplayer, it must build on that multiplayer. Multiplayer adds replayability to games. It just does. And so, yes, it's great that a God of War can dominate for a brief moment, have a brief flash of light, but if you want a long burning flame, if you want something that you can continue to release DLC for and you can use that hype to release sequels to, multiplayer is going to be a big part of that for a lot of titles. So I just thought that was interesting. Any of you Stardew players out there, hopefully this is great news. And definitely thanks to Eurogamer for getting that out. So that's the 4 stories for this week. It is just a brief look into kind of a series of stories that I don't think are quite big enough to cover on their own, but they are interesting. And I want to release these Gaming Weekly videos as often as possible. I'm actually about to sit down and record 2 more in one sitting, so I'm not sure exactly how we're going to roll those out, but there is a lot more news going on in gaming in general. So if you have any stories that you want to kind of have covered or you think are interesting and you want to share with us, definitely feel free to always post in links in the description down below. Tell us kind of what the link is to. Don't just post a link just blank, because I'm not ever going to click on that. That feels like a trap. So, you know, reputable links, be reasonable, start that conversation. What are you guys excited about? What's going on in gaming? Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This has been Chris with Work to Game, and I will see you guys next time. What is Work to Game? 30 seconds, go! Work to Game is basically a channel where we talk about video games, anything we like about video games. We sometimes post vlog videos about something else that we just want to talk about. We kind of have a schedule. It changes all the time. It's in the About section on YouTube. We also stream over on Twitch just anytime we want to play games. Right now, it's happening more and more. I don't know what's happening at the time you watch this video, but the best thing you could do is click on the About page and kind of see if there's a rough plan that we have here